Day. Aaron?
Thanks, Ellie. Joining us now to discuss the legacy of late Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin is Yoav Reimer of the Dror Israel movement. Yoav, thanks for coming in this evening.
My pleasure.
Now, of course, many years have passed since that night that the nation of Israel will never forget, and yet there are many, many young people who are actually old enough to vote who have no memories themselves of Yitzhak Rabin. How do you describe Rabin's legacy to young people such as this?
This is the question that brought us to create this year's rally, last night's rally, which is very different from previous years. We understood that teenagers today, even young adults, don't have the nostalgic feelings that some of us or older generations have about Rabin, and we decided to take the murder and take the lessons that we believe that this murder teaches Israeli society and try to draw the line between incitement and violence that preceded the murder and the processes that underline Israeli society today.
Well, in many ways, there's just as much political divisiveness now as there was on the eve of the murder 17 years ago. So how does Dror Israel and other organizations such as yours work to promote tolerance and unity?
You're right about divisiveness, but the thing is, in my view, the fault line that we are all discussing for the past 17 years has been marked falsely. The break does not lie between right or left or between secular and religious. The break is between the very large public, religious and secular, who believes in Israeli democracy and sees it as vital to Zionism, and the other part of the public which does not accept democracy. And that part should be taken outside. It's not legitimate, it's not part of true Zionist climate, and it shouldn't be part of our society, and we should fight it.
How do you react to the comments from the Prime Minister today at the start of the cabinet meeting? He branded this as one of the worst crimes in modern history. He said, of course, that this assassination tarnished the history of Zionism and the Jewish state. Do you accept these sentiments and similar views expressed by people on the right with sincerity?
Again, I don't think the division here is between left or right. On the stage last night, there were leaders, religious, right wings, settler leaders. It's not a right-left thing. It's about democracy. Are the statements honest? Are they sincere? It depends on who speaks them, and depends on checking out his actions throughout the last several years. If we're talking about a known leader in Israel, do these people promote democracy, or do they do something else?
Now, I understand your commemoration is continuing. It wasn't just last night.
No, we are, for example, in Jerusalem today. We have a memorial tent as part of a project that goes on throughout Israel. We're taking thousands of teenagers through an exhibition, like a temporary museum, telling the story of Yitzhak Rabin and especially of Israeli society, the incitement and violence, racism, Torat HaMelech, the racist book that was published 2 years ago, price tag, Jewish terrorism. We bind this whole thing into a story that young adults and teenagers could relate to and could take action regarding. In Jerusalem, in Tel Aviv, in Rabin Square, Jerusalem, in Safra Square, and every evening we hold cultural activities for the general public in those memorial tents.
In the few moments we have left, could you just briefly tell us more about your organization itself, Dror Israel?
Dror Israel is basically an educators movement. It runs throughout the country. We have over 1,000 adults living in educators kibbutzim throughout Israel, running a huge diversity of educational projects, schools, clubs, the Noar Oved Ve'Alomed, the Noal youth movement, the largest and most diverse youth movement in Israel, a very broad spectrum, all devoted to these values of Zionism, democracy, equality.
Yoav Reimer of Dror Israel, thanks very much for coming in on this day.
My pleasure.
Thank you.